Hello once again, I'm Bear Schultz, SP 500. Thank you for joining me. Yesterday we closed the markets on May 2nd, Friday. And so I wanted to give an update in a video format with the models that I produced on May 2nd. It's early morning, May 3rd. I think almost 3:40 in the morning on May 3rd as I'm producing this video, 2025. And so I want to give an update to my Great Depression forecast, essentially, and show you the macro peak around Labor Day of 2030 for the final macro peak, and then the end of the Great Depression, which I believe will be in the summer of 2034 or even as late as Labor Day of 2034. And so the Great Depression would start in about 278 weeks from now. So we have about a little over 5 years before I believe that the Great Depression starts. So we would be at some type of major peak at Labor Day of 2030, around then. Could it go a little farther out? Sure. Could it be the Super Bowl of 2031? Sure. It certainly could. But I want to give the best guidance I can, and so I'd rather be a tiny bit late on a a tiny bit early on a macro forecast and a tiny bit late. So thank you for joining me, and hopefully this video today ages extremely well.
Donation QR codes and donation link below this video, and PayPal link below the YouTube video down in the description. Thank you for following me.
So essentially, if you've followed me any of my work, you know that I use 3 touch points for determining macro turning points in markets. That's my system. And so you can see from the previous back testing, essentially it picked out late 2000 for a macro peak in the S&P 500. It's a monthly model. That's what the M stands for. It's a 5-minute algorithm that I built for the S&P 500. And essentially this is all monthly data going back to 1977, as you can see, or 1976. You can see the 3 touch points out to late 2000. You can see the 3 touch points out to late 2007. So the first touch point for 2007 peak would be your 1978 low in the wave, the black wave. And then it had 2 touch points around 1993, 1994, where that bottom kind of leveled out for a while. And then it hit the top line at the end of 2007. So that created that macro peak. On my blog, you can see that I went back in time, back into the 40s forward, and it picked out the peak in markets around 1972, and then 1987, and the year 1999/2000. So back tested pretty well. And then with the 3 touch points, you can see that there should be a macro peak in markets, as you can see from the text, around the Super Bowl of 2028. Then I believe we'll see a pretty big sell-off into October of 2028 or even March 2029. You could have a double bottoming effect, if you will. And then we'll see markets then gain strength into late 2030, which I believe will be the end of the bull run, the 30-year bull run, and that would be the start of the Great Depression. So in terms of waves, you would start your wave 1 down, starting at the very peak in markets and Super Bowl of 2028, and then you'd have wave 1 down into late 2028 or 2029 or early 2029. Then you have wave 2 up into the late 2030 period, and then the start of wave 3 down on a macro scale would be in 2031 into 2034. And the next slide I have for you would be where the bottoms are in markets, the macro bottoms. So obviously the peaks would come first and are the most important in understanding this concept. And so I built this quick presentation for the worldwide audience, basically because I'm not sure why I'm given this gift in life. So perhaps it helps someone. Perhaps someone can make greater use of it, protect their wealth, speaking with a licensed financial professional or someone else, as I am not licensed in any way, shape, or form. So please understand that this is purely forecast, and I'm not licensed in any way, shape, or form once again. So please, if this is a great help to you, maybe even in the future, maybe the Lord has given me this gift, maybe so that I can't make the most of it, but that someone else can, and someone else can gain greatly from it. And maybe during the Great Depression, you want to donate and be kind and generous towards me during the Great Depression. I'm not sure if that's the reason, perhaps, why the Lord has given me this gift to share with others, so that someone else can benefit much greater than I can from it, but would be so kind as to donate to me during this period. Maybe I will be in great need during this period. I don't know. But nonetheless, if you are watching this in the 2031 through 2034 time frame, yes, and you benefited greatly, or perhaps the timing you found has been astoundingly accurate. Yeah, if you want to routinely donate or donate to me, I don't know, maybe I'll greatly need it at that time. I'm not sure. But let's move on to the bottoms. And then, so essentially, we would see a Father's Day 2025 low for a final sell-off here in markets. Markets are at, I think, like 5,700 on May 2nd, yesterday's close. And so I think they'll sell off one more time into roughly Father's Day. So I'm thinking like June 12th or 13th for a final bottom in markets around, again, Father's Day of 2025. And then I think we would see markets again go up into that February of 2028 period for the beginning of wave one down. And then I put the kind of the color green arrow here on the graph as well for the late 2028, early 2029. And then we would see that again, that final peak around September or Labor Day 2030. And then the purpose of this graph really is the focus on the Labor Day of 2034. You can see how the rhythm of the collapse in markets in 2002 and 3, and then 2008 and 9 formed points 1 and 2. And then you can see how 2016, the lull in markets in late 2015, early 2016, developed point number 3, and that would create the reset out in Labor Day of 2034 for the final bottom in markets, or the end of the Great Depression, I think. And so it really seems to me that Jerome Powell really hasn't done anything to prevent this from happening, that I can tell, and that he's only followed the marching orders from the past. Fortunately, I think that sometimes you have to let the lows go lower. Like in 2020, I don't think it was a great idea to put interest rates back at 0. I think they should have shored up Social Security, things like that. People have paid in decades into Social Security, and honestly, that should be the crown jewel of the American workers. The elected officials should put the worker first and make sure that they're taken care of, right? Because we've paid so much in Social Security over our lifetime that they should show, I think, humble respect towards the voting class, towards the working class, and make sure that was taken care of. And they had the chance, right? Because interest rates went down to 0, they could have cleaned that up, but unfortunately, I don't think that was the case. And really, it's been a disservice to Social Security, the way that Congress has really depleted and blown up our national debt. So I think things like that should have been of utmost importance, and unfortunately they weren't. So again, hopefully you enjoyed this presentation today. Hopefully that the timing of this is exceptional, and you can't find anything like it anywhere else. And yeah, so again, I think that the markets will bottom around Father's Day of 2025 for a final low, then hit a final peak around Super Bowl of 2028, and then cool off, sell off for up to a year, possibly as late as March 2029, maybe as early as October 2028. And then you'll see a final peak in markets around Labor Day of 2030, and maybe even New Year's or a Super Bowl of 2031. And then you'll see a 4-year decline in markets. So it should be could be a very bad time. This is the window for the Great Depression to unfold. And so I wanted to give everyone a 5-year forecast, 5 years ahead in time, so that hopefully the most people can speak with licensed professionals and get their advice and how to protect themselves should you see all these things unfold as prescribed here at the end of close yesterday's May 2nd, 2025 markets. And if my models are hyper accurate for macro, obviously it would be of a great value to the viewer. To hedge funds, I try to make my work free so that anyone in the world can watch my work and see if it does well. I've done good on the macro here in 2025, but I haven't been able really to lock in the micro moves that well. So I figure maybe that's why God gave me this gift, is perhaps to share with others. Because if He would have let me be highly successful on every front, right? Maybe perhaps I would have never shared my work. Maybe I would have kept it all under my hat. And I know at least one individual who's become a millionaire on their own system, and he would never share it with anyone. So perhaps that's why the Lord has not allowed me to be a secret millionaire, right? Maybe He wants me to use my gift to share with others. So again, if you see all these things play out as prescribed, hopefully you can speak with someone that's licensed to make the most out of them. And if this is in 2034 when you're watching this, or 2035, and you've successfully navigated all the financial storms that this is predicting, and if they play out as prescribed, and again, if they play out as prescribed, I say that humbly, then it is truly by God's grace that He's granted me to understand these things before 10 years in advance, before they unfold. So again, if you've enjoyed my work, or you're in the distant future from now, and you really are elated, maybe there's someone out there that wants to donate $34,000 or $77,000 out in the future, who's played these macro calls with their licensed professionals' timing, or has saved their retirement with a little bit of help from my work, and saved themselves from great extreme loss through the guidance of this work, or with the benefit of this little added pinch of salt, so to speak, for timing. And they want to bless me immensely. Who knows? Maybe that's why God's given me this gift, so that I might actually receive the benefit through someone else's hand and not my own. So if you're feeling extremely generous, or you feel like that's something you want to do, please feel free to use the PayPal or Venmo or the Cash App, and send me a donation that way. But appreciate your time, appreciate you sharing this with other people, and allowing them to also see what may yet be to come. I've spent probably 20 years building these models altogether. I started in 2003 with my theory. I started building them in 2009 or 10. So theory has been about 20 years in the making. Models have been about 15 years in the making. And so hopefully you never know why God gives you gifts, honestly. And or if it is even a gift, right? If you really want to be honest about it, sometimes you feel like it's a gift, and other times you feel like it's a piece of garbage, right? Sometimes you feel like you'd be haughty to think that what your passions are gifts from the Lord, because some days, like every other human, you're like, am I being a little bit too haughty? Am I just making this up? Am I just imagining things? But if it plays out as prescribed, hopefully, and that's a big if, that it is a blessing to many others, and hopefully they're able to navigate the economic future much better with this guidance and speaking with a licensed professional, as I am not licensed in any way, shape, or form. Thank you again for watching. I'm B.R. Schultz. Until next time, take care.